Hey, welcome everyone. How are you all doing? Welcome to Designing Adobe XD. I am your host, Talin Wadsworth. I am the lead designer of Adobe XD, and this is our Friday show where we talk about all things XD, and we answer questions, and we talk about design, and we talk about process. We talk about how we work as a team. We talk about all those things. It's great to see everyone. Let's go and check out who's hanging with us here. I saw a lot of people in right before we started. Scott, what's going on? Zachary, Ainsley, how's it going? John, Munir, great to see you. Great to see some of those familiar avatars, faces, avatars, any of those things. Of course, I got Paco along with me today in the Adobe Live team. What's up, everybody? Igor, great to see you back. I had a great time last week. We actually did some portfolio reviews last week, and we're going to be doing that a little more often now. So keep an eye out. If you guys want to get some feedback on your portfolios, we're going to be doing that again probably next month. So stay tuned on that one. Ben Brahim, how are you doing, man? Great to be here with you. I love Linda. How are you? Happy Friday. I love being here on a Friday. This is like I look forward to this like all week. Like this is like the high point of my week. No, just kidding. I love my job. All the moments are high moments. Even when it gets tough. When you're having the tough conversations. It's great. What's going on, everybody? You guys playing along, designing along with the XD Daily Creative Challenges? Because that's what we're going to be talking about today. So today, it just so happens, if you've checked it out, if you haven't, you should go check it out today. There's still time to hop in. So I don't know if you've done this before, but on Behance here, we have a sign up to register for the Daily Creative Challenge for XD. And what this is great is it really kind of, basically the team gives you some challenges, and of course the man, Mr. Howard Pinsky, also kind of helping you out, kind of playing along with everyone. And you basically take on some tasks in XD. Hopefully you learn some new things about using XD. You learn some new skills. Maybe you're sort of you're just getting into UX design, UI design. This is a great place to start out. And what I love about it is it also gives us an opportunity to kind of talk about some of those key things you do like as a UX designer. Like these are actually like some of the skills and the abilities that I use every day to do my job in designing Adobe XD. Okay, it's pretty cool. So here we, and Ainsley, there is a Slack channel. So make sure when you sign up, you also join the Slack channel, the Slack community. That's gonna be a great place to do any troubleshooting that you have. So definitely, again, there's a great community. Slack is actually where we also, in that Slack community is where we also do the portfolio submissions for our portfolio reviews days on the Friday show. So if you want to get in on that as well, join the Slack community. Great stuff going on there. People are dropping in. I drop in every once in a while to kind of say hi and check out the work that's going on. Because I love seeing the great work you guys are doing in XD. So today, if you sort of let's go look at the schedule so far. And again, you can join up today and you can play catch up on the previous day's challenges. So no worries there. Again, this is kind of the midpoint, so you're still good. So yeah, so today we have so Tuesday when we kick things off because Monday was a holiday. This week we're talking about starting by creating a design system. And I also talked about that a little bit on a stream recently as well, like how I like to start any good project is really, particularly a UX project, is to start with some of those system elements that I know I'm going to be reusing across all my different screens. So that was a really fun one. You can check out Howard's video on that one from earlier in the week on creating a design system. There's also some handy templates to get you started. And then, of course, from there, moving on to designing low-fidelity screens. So this is that phase of the design when you're just trying to solve the big user experience problems. You're not worried about the details of the design. You're just trying to get your story down and get some of those bones of the interaction sort of in place inside of XD. So that was Wednesday. Yesterday, Howard took you through defining your user flow. Again, sort of mapping out and starting to build that interactive user flow within XD, so you can start really testing it yourself, getting your hands on it, maybe sending it to other people, make sure you're on the right path. And of course, today is my favorite topic. Today for the Creative Challenge is share and review. super, super important part of the UX design process, any design process, really. Zaryeb, how are you doing? I'm seeing some new faces pop up. How's it going? Rohan, great to see. A big fan of auto animates. I love auto animates. It's one of my favorites. I feel like I waited for that feature forever. Now it's here, and I'm just happy to use it every day. Oh no, Zaryeb, seeing some lags. Interesting. Let's we go and note that on the user voice forum, Zaryeb. I think I may know the one you're talking about. But if you haven't been to our user voice forum, that's where you can like vote on new features, but you can also report bugs, and it helps the team out. Also, Twitter is never a bad way to go on that one either. What's up, Howard? There's the man himself, Mr. Howard Pinsky, hanging out with us today. He's your guide. He is your Sherpa on your adventures inside of XD with the XD Daily Creative Challenges. So go check out Howard's videos from earlier this week on that. And today, also, you can check out his video from earlier today. That'd be kind of weird. Have Howard on the chat, be me live streaming, watching Howard's video from earlier today. That'd be kind of weird. But today this is my favorite topic. Share and review. So I actually just gave a presentation on this. I don't know if you tuned in last week. If you know, I took a trip recently to Japan, to Tokyo, and I actually got to present at a UX design conference, kind of the first of its kind in Tokyo, which I was really, really excited to be a part of. Of course, Tokyo is a beautiful city and just full of inspiring design, and I met so many amazing and talented designers there. And I got to talk about feedback and the importance of feedback, like in your process. A lot of us as creatives, as creative types, as creative people, there's, like sometimes like it doesn't feel great to just like show someone else your design. You kind of, it feels kind of precious, and maybe you're feeling a little, you're not sure if it's the right thing yet, and there, of course, I'm a perfectionist. I don't know if any of you are perfectionists as well. At least that's how I've always sort of thought about myself. And man, if it's not 100% perfect, I don't know if I want to share it. I'm always sort of fighting that impulse. Any of you fighting that impulse along with me? Do you feel me on that one? I don't know if it's just me, but yeah, like, there's that tendency, I think, as a creative sometimes, I don't want to share it until I feel like it's ready. But in a lot of ways, I'm really holding back my potential and holding back my design's potential, right? And so I've really worked in my career, both at school and as I've been out sort of doing kind of design work professionally, to really fight against that impulse, because every time I have, my design has ended up better for it. And whether that's feedback from a trusted friend, feedback from a boss or a client, or anyone else who has at least some context and can give you that that objective view to really evaluate your work. Anytime you can do that and get that feedback, it's always going to make your work better. And so today we are going to be talking about how important it is to share your work. And of course that goes to like one of the key principles like in XD. So if we go and we sort of go over to XD and we start any new document here, there is always, I have not done the February update apparently. I'll go do that in a moment. Please forgive me. If you noticed on my doc, I have multiple builds of XD that I'm working on. So, I'm never quite sure which one I'm the most up to date in, and I'm using features that you all haven't seen yet as well. Yeah. So it seems like everybody else is kind of feeling me on that perfection thing, right? And that was something that I really was thinking a lot about, and the team was really thinking a lot about when we were starting XD, is that we really were inspired by the creative process, and feedback and having other people sort of see and review your work is such an important part of that process that we actually built it into XD, right? So up here at the top, if you just sort of launch XD, you see design, and you see prototype, and then over here, and now it's a blue button, and that sort of, it's so important, but share. Again, design, prototype, share, was really the foundation of of working in design, working in UX design. Again, XD in that way, I really feel is actually showing you and telling you something about the creative process. So yeah, so like that actually, again, like my feelings and like in that me sort of challenging myself to share my work, and others to be able to share their work very easily, really actually was the foundation of how we started to design XD. So yeah, there's a question on feedback here. Ben Brahim, he's actually asking here, this is a really good question. What's the difference between user testing and usability testing? You got that question in an interview. So Ben Brahim, I don't know how maybe others might define it, but how we define it here is that any good design starts with a really strong foundation of research. And so for us, user testing or user research is really about not about validating designs, but more about evaluating concepts, right? Does the user, do I know the goals that the user has when they're using my product? Do I understand the problems that they have that they're trying to solve? And I might sometimes in user testing share some content or some designs to kind of help get the conversation going, but I'm not testing the actual sort of details of mechanically how the UI will function. So that's where you kind of get into the difference, is that usability testing then is really about testing the mechanics of how those UI components work, right? Usability testing would be here. This is a really clear example. Do people in XD share more if sharing workflows are behind an icon that is a sort of universally sort of understood sharing icon at this point? Or would they actually be more apt to discover those features if the share action was a button that was blue up here in the right-hand corner? So in a lot of ways, like you out there using XD today, and maybe you can tell me, like testing the usability of the sharing workflows. Let's talk about it. I love hearing your feedback. So, Rohan, this is a good question. I don't know what the numbers are. If you're having a good time, that's all that matters. You know, we want to get as many people, of course, coming in and chatting with us. That always makes it better. So yeah, seen some other faces in there. Ben Brahimi, I'd love to hear what Fitz Law. I don't know if I'm aware of that one. So, Adriano, yes. Imagine if Talin was to open up one of those development builds. If you're paying attention, I might give some things away. You never know. Yes, that's right, Howard. I might accidentally reveal the XD pink UI. I know a lot of people are waiting on the dark UI, but we've got a curveball for you, the XD pink UI. Yes. I actually had a build that I could change the color of the UI. It's pretty wild. I don't have it anymore. It was too atrocious. It was an abomination. It was a sin against UI design. So we don't show it anymore. So, all right. So here we are, and we're in XD. We talked a little bit about that. So I wanted to quickly. I had put together this presentation for my time in Japan, and I was wondering maybe if it might be interesting to sort of share some of it. So, you know, I kind of talk about, when I went over there, you know, I really wanted to talk about sort of the importance of feedback, you know, on the design process. And so I'm just going to share a few slides and see what you guys think. So this is something that I've really thought a lot about kind of in my career, is that, so, you know, I'm a professed perfectionist. You know, I never want to share something until I feel like it's perfectly right. And as Howard said, I think a lot of other people are the same. But in my experience and over the years, I really found that there is no perfect design solution, that it's just not achievable. You know, that there could always be a different way, a better way, something that resonates more with people. There could always be that other way. And how are you going to find out about that? Well, it's only through process that you find out about that. So to me, right, there really is no perfect design solution. And in saying that and in telling myself as this like mantra, this manifesto I have, in a way actually takes some of that pressure off that I put on myself, right, as a perfectionist. Really just kind of lift some of that and say, hey, look, perfection is unattainable. So don't worry about that. Just start making something. It might not be good, but you never know, right? But of course, you know, when you're looking at, of course, like, you know, these are some of my design heroes when I was sort of going to school, right? Like, you're looking at these projects and they're featured in these magazines. And well, at least back when I was first going to school, there really wasn't anyone sort of talking about how these were made. You know, just like, oh, these just sort of sprang fully formed out of these designers' minds, right? They were just sort of being featured in these really, you know, high quality magazines. And there was no one was really talking about what it took for those designers to get there, or what it took for the client to be able to help the designer get there, or create that space, right? Right, and so this is always kind of the thing we're fighting against, is this sort of blank page syndrome, right? Like, this is also the problem for all of us perfectionists, is that when you haven't started, you know, where do you start? You know, when you're faced with this sort of blank page. And I always sort of like to reference here, one of the people that really pushed me in my career is my former professor and boss and mentor, Eric Hyman, who's a designer here in San Francisco, owns an amazing studio that I used to work for called Volume Inc. And this is actually a shot of Eric like at our school. And every day we were really forced to, in design school, come in and actually share our work. Like, that was a requirement. You had to come in and you had to put your work up on the board, and you had to expose it to the feedback of your peers, right? And no one was gonna, feedback is never about being mean. And if it is, don't be friends with that person. But, you know, really working, helping you break through that and really getting your work up on the board. And the thing that I really started to realize as again, I was in these classes and I was, again, maybe a little hesitant to share, but the more I shared my work, the better my work got. The better I could speak about my work, and the better, again, in the end, that the design, so I may end up in a completely different place than I started, but the design was always better than if I hadn't shared it, right? I love the comments going on right now. Ben Brahim is actually like breaking down the usability testing like of the XD app here for us, which I love in a very fun way. Yeah. Rohan, you had a question. That's not a dumb question. Why does the XD logo have rounded corners while the other apps have sharp corners? I wonder what you think about that. Why do you think? I could get some of my brand design friends in on this to talk about that, but maybe we'll cover that in a different one. Yeah, Howard's got the answer right there. Anthony, you didn't miss much. We're actually talking about the importance of feedback in the design process, and I'm actually walking through some of my slides from my presentation that I just gave in Tokyo, Japan at the Y Design Tokyo conference, which is really exciting. So I talked about, again, like, part of going to school for me was kind of opening up my own process and sharing more and seeing the value of feedback, because it was a requirement of the class, right? And it's something that, again, I always noticed that my work always got better the more I was willing to share it and openly talk about how the ideas were developing, and then being open to that feedback, right? Because, you know, this is a little graphic that I liked where, okay, in an ideal scenario, we could go from that blank page to achieve our project objectives, and it would just be this simple, easy, like, straight line process from here to there. But as a lot of us know, that's never the case, right? But often what happens if you kind of just keep designing and you're not sharing, you may end up missing the mark, right, completely, right? And it really is the important role of feedback, right, to help kind of keep you sort of, you know, honed in on that target, right? That however you get there, that feedback's gonna help kind of keep you on track and keep you from going too far off and missing the project objectives completely, right? So that's again, like, feedback is so important in the design process. And as I kind of mentioned maybe on previous shows, that, again, not only is it's not really a straight line, but this process of sort of designing and getting feedback and then learning from that and going back and putting it back into your work in the next iteration, right, is this very cyclical process. And we're going through really this loop kind of every day as part of our ongoing process. So again, just showing, like, this is how important I feel that sharing is to the process. And we talked about how actually, like, it is sort of built into the UI of XD. Right? So let's go check that out. So for all of you following along today in the Creative Challenge, let's go talk about how you share your work in XD. Because again, I think it's a super valuable part. We're doing some experiments, we're trying to make it better. But you know, let's say if I am going to design something here, and maybe I'll just sort of quickly sort of lay something in here so we can get right to it. All right. Do a quick repeat grid here. Boom, 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 right? So once I have that design that's in a place that I feel like it's got something I want to get feedback on. So here I am going to hit the share button, and Ben Brahim. So the blue is actually defined by our team that works on the overall design aesthetic and design system for the UI of our applications. Of course, we all know that the blue, as he notes, is a very appealing color. Of course, we should all be aware as UI designers what different colors might mean in different cultures, in different parts of the world. Blue, I think, has been pretty agreed upon in the software industry as being a very appealing, very eye-catching color, something that has a lot of contrast, a lot of saturation, you know, works very well for usability or accessibility needs. So it's been something that we've all kind of like come around to. So we've updated the sharing flows a little bit over the last year or so. So when I'm ready to sort of share my design or share my prototype, my interactive prototype, I have some options here. So the one that, again, that we're gonna be focusing on today that's gonna be part of that XD Creative Challenge is actually sharing for review. So in the daily challenge, you're gonna want to, of course, post your designs to the Behance project. That's one of the objectives. But you also can share your design for others to go and give feedback on. So when I click on share for review, what I'm able to do is give it a title, of course, and call this early concept. And of course, I want comments, so I'm gonna keep those clicked on. I have some other options here, but really, again, I just wanna get a link and send this out. I can choose to make this link public or private. So here I can create a public link. If I wanted to create a private link that I wanted to specifically invite people to, I could also do that. But for this, I'm just gonna create a quick test public link. So when I do that there, now I have a link available. So I can either actually choose to copy the embed code and actually put this on my Behance page. So for all of you who are following along with the daily challenge, this is gonna be one of those ways you're gonna be able to post to your Behance page, is actually once you've shared your prototype, you can get the code to then embed it in your Behance project. Super handy. Or we can, of course, copy the link and I can send that to all of you, maybe via Twitter as well. Or I can actually open it in a browser. So we're just gonna do that real quick to take a tour of what's happening here on the other side. So now here, once I've shared my design, now when I send this link out, this is what everyone's going to see. So if I share this to all of you here on the chat, or if I share it maybe in my Slack channel to my team, you know, our team, we actually have a channel that's called Design Crit, and we're sort of posting all of our in-progress work there on a regular basis and getting feedback, again, to continue to sort of strengthen the team and that sort of collaborative relationship. And then also, of course, to move things forward and to get actionable feedback that we can take to make our designs better. So here, what's really handy is I can actually make a comment on this design. Needs more content. And I can actually choose to just sort of add that comment, or I can choose to actually pin it to a specific area of the design that I'm reviewing. And then once I submit that, now this is here. And of course, I'm commenting on my own prototype. But if you do send it out, you'll actually get a notification actually on through the Creative Cloud app on your desktop, and you can actually go and these will take you directly to the page with the feedback on it. Let me see, what's a good one to check in? Here I am, if you're paying attention, there's a lot of in-progress work, so they're shown there. We're not gonna be able to click on any of those today, maybe another time. Again, but this is something that we're really trying to do to really connect people to their group of trusted reviewers or clients, and then be able to help you, again, like take this feedback and come right back into XD. And that's what's so cool about it, is I can come right back into XD and address that feedback. Or like, oh yeah, I should show what this looks like with like people in it. You know, so I'm gonna grab some of these avatars here, drag and drop them in. Man, look at that. I was able to take action immediately on that feedback, and then of course go back through the share and actually update my prototype. And then I can go, all right, done. And then we'll go back and launch it out again. And now when I'm here, I can be like, all right, did I address that feedback? And I can go, yep. Added some stuff. Boom. And I can also track this, very handy, and I can actually resolve that comment. And then it takes the little feedback pin away, removes the comment, and there again, I've progressed the concept. I have addressed feedback, and ideally, and my design has gotten better. So yeah, so what do you guys think about all this? Are you using the review flow yourself? I actually got a link earlier. Someone was actually looking for some feedback on Twitter, and I offered to, of course, I'm like, check out your prototype. That's amazing. So here I'm gonna, you know, later a little bit, I'm gonna give some detailed feedback for this designer. Oh, but it looks like they didn't turn comments on. So if you, let's see who that was. Rachel, Ray Design. If you're watching, go turn on your comment field for your prototype so I can leave you some feedback. Beck, what's going on? How you doing? You guys have any? So you know, today it's a shorter show, but I sort of walked you through again some of the importance of feedback in your process. All right, you need to be getting your designs to a point where they're ready to share, and of course when you're asking for feedback, you know, asking for very targeted feedback from your set of collaborators, right? But you can use XD to do all of that and really sort of keep you in your flow, to really connect you to those sharing workflows. Again, that really speaks to, again, why we created XD the way we did. So Munir, you got a question? Thanks for calling it out. I think maybe you asked that earlier. No, Munir, we talked about this in our portfolio review section. And if you want to go get a little deeper in it in a previous episode, no, you don't need to make 2 resumes necessarily, but depending on what job you're going for, you want to tailor the content to the hiring place or manager, right? So if you're going for a UI UX job, it's not that you wouldn't show your graphic design work, but you would prioritize and showcase more of your UI UX work, and then choose maybe 1 or 2 of the best design projects, just sort of more traditional design projects you might want to include. Again, but you want to tackle each position you're applying for as its own unique design challenge, and really tailor your portfolio to tell a really strong story. Again, you really want to make your best case, really sell in the message that you're trying to convey, right? So. Good, Michael, I don't know. I was wondering, is it the Rachel Ray? Maybe she's getting into XD. I think XD is pretty awesome for anyone who wants to communicate an idea. So I hope maybe she's using it. Elizabeth, quickly in the last here, start with mobile and then quickly move on to web. But you want to be trying to think about them and thinking about the content applied to all of those surfaces at the same time. But I always like to start with mobile. It has the most constraints. So. All right, so you guys, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful for all of you who are following along the daily challenge. If you haven't joined, go register, go join the Slack community, and we'll see you next week. See you guys.